Alright, let's hope you get that. Hello guys, episode 6. So today we're going to be cooking a dish that I hold very close to my heart. It's the one, the only, it's chicken curry. So as you all know, my mum's side of the family, they're from India. My mum was taught how to cook a chicken curry from her mum. My mum taught me yesterday how to cook one. So if I can learn how to cook in one day, you guys definitely can too. So what I've done is I've actually got all of the ingredients laid out here so that one, it just makes it easier for whoever's making it to do things in the right order. But by having all your ingredients prepped before, it just makes the whole process so much more seamless. The first thing that we're going to want to do is turn your hob on. And you're going to add a generous amount of oil because you don't want things to stick. We're also not going to be using any butter in this recipe. You could, but for me, I'm trying to keep it as healthy as possible. The chicken thighs themselves will release a lot of fat and oil, so we're only really going to be needing to use the olive oil itself. But no, this is a recipe you guys have been shouting for. I've been wanting to do it for a while, actually. I think, as I said, I needed mum to teach me how to make it. And that's the beauty of this channel, is that I'm learning with you guys. And I back myself to know that I can cook a good chicken curry. We'll see at the end with the flavours, but you know what I say, flavours locked in, as always. So I'm going to be adding our cumin seeds, 1 black cardamom and 4 green cardamons, and you can just add that into the pan, straight like that, with your cinnamon stick. And you're just going to let that cook for about 1 to 2 minutes. And you can hear the sizzling. You don't want this to burn. You really don't want this to burn because that will create quite a bitter taste. So this is really just about, you're just waiting to get that smell in the room. And this, I don't know why, this helps get that smell into your nose. So by doing this, you're getting those flavours. So mum's laughing, you can't laugh. So as soon as you get that aroma, as I said, 30 seconds is perfect, to be honest. You're going to go straight on to adding your curry leaves. And these curry leaves are really quite important, I'd say, because they add a real beautiful smell to this dish. This is creating the foundation of your sauce, and you do not want to be burning things because it will just create that bitter taste. So once your cumin seeds start popping out the pan, that's your sign, oh, time to add the onions. So this is about 3 medium-sized onions. So your onions are just roughly chopped. We're going to be blitzing our sauce, so you don't need to be too critical on how you chop things. For me, I can already tell that the pan is a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add a bit more oil. And that's why it's really important that you're constantly looking at the pan, you're making your own judgment. You don't want to cook this on a high heat. It needs to be a low to medium heat. Because you want your onions to soften now. You've got all of those foundations with those beautiful spices. And for me, I'll come downstairs half the time and be like, oh my God, Mum, what are you cooking? And she's like, I've just put onions and garlic in a pan, Loch'D. But to me, those are the smells that they create a lot of dishes. We're just going to be cooking our onions now for about 10 minutes. And also, guys, I know I say these timings, they're for a guidance. It's really important that you're looking at your onions, you're making your own judgment, but around 8 to 10 minutes. And it's really key here, guys, that you don't burn your onions because you don't want your sauce to be a real dark colour. You want it to be that creamy, brown, light consistency. And by you blitzing the ingredients at the start, it has a detrimental impact on the product later down the line. So enjoy the process. As I said, by having all of these ingredients prepped before, in the right order as well, it's so easy to follow. You guys are going to be able to make an authentic Indian chicken curry dish like it was from the heart of India. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys' takes on this. Definitely send them over to me with the hashtag #LockedIn. So you can actually have this on a relatively high heat. It's just important that you're constantly stirring. As soon as you see the onions start to brown a little bit, then you turn the heat down. And the great thing about this chicken curry dish, guys, is that once you've cooked this, the longer that you leave it, you can eat this for the next couple days. You can use this as a pasta sauce. I'm going to be showing you new ways of, once we've got this beautiful chicken curry, how we can cook it in different ways as well. So guys, my favorite ingredient, garlic. We've got a whole clove today. We can add that all straight in. So I add the garlic in after the onions because I really don't want there to be any risk of burning. And what I'll actually do here is I turn down the heat ever so slightly. And that way, the heat of the onions cooks the garlic themselves, and obviously the heat from the pan as well, but nothing gets burned. That's the key, no burning, guys. Enjoy, you know what I say, low and slow is the way to go. We're going to be adding a thumb's worth of the ginger, so not as much as the garlic as we've added, but you still want a good amount. So we're going to add that in. So the ginger cooks very quickly, so we're just going to keep it on a very low heat. Honestly, guys, when you make this curry, you won't want to go out for a curry night. You'll just want to stay at home. Babes, I've got this one. I've got this sorted. He says as he's a professional curry cooker who learnt yesterday. But guys, look. I look like a professional, don't I? I've got an apron on. So your onions are perfect consistency now. Nice and soft. Nothing's burned. So something that we do in our family, not sure if it's traditional or not, we don't like to waste any ingredients, and the stalk adds another level to the sauce. So before we add any of the coriander leaves, at this stage we're just going to sprinkle our coriander stalks into our sauce foundation. Oh, that smells amazing. And again, low heat. We're going to be blitzing all of this, guys, so you don't need to focus too much on how well you chop things. I use the food blender to blend my garlic, my ginger. It saves you so much more time. Keeping this recipe nice and simple. We've been cooking off our onions, our garlic, our spices for about 12 minutes now. Once your onions are softened, you can see that all of the ingredients are binding nice together. You can actually take out your cinnamon stick. I mean, if you can find those 4 green cardamons, good luck. Mum laughing. You should be able to find the 1 black cardamom, so I am going to spend the time to find that little boy. And I think a really important point to mention here, guys, is that you really want to be happy with the foundations of your sauce, so your onions, your spices, before you add your tomato sauce, because as soon as you add a bit of liquid to it, it's almost like there's no going back. So make sure that you're fully happy with the colour, the consistency, before you add your tinned tomatoes. We're almost there. Nothing's burning. We want all of those flavours to absorb. So as soon as your onions look about the same colour as me, actually, you're ready to add your spices. So let's get these beautiful spices over. So 1.5 teaspoons of garam masala. So that's 1. Just found the cardamom. That's half. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, heaped teaspoon. Don't skimp out. And try not to spill turmeric everywhere, it stains. I can already hear my mum's voice in the back of my head. 1 teaspoon of paprika. That was a little bit less, a bit more. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. And a nice, I like to do this one with my hands, a nice handful of fenugreek. Sprinkle that on top. Voice in my head just said bit more. Bit more. And then we're just going to put our slices somewhere where they won't spill on a lovely white countertop. And it's really important now, guys, for me, I'll actually take this off the heat just very quickly, because this is where, as soon as you add your spices, things can burn quite quickly. So to actually take it off the heat, it's already high. You can get all of those spices mixed in without things burning. And as soon as it's mixed back in and you're happy with all of those spices, you can turn the heat down and you can add it back to the heat. Give it maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Just let those spices cook. Let that aroma build up. You're going to add your tomatoes, which the liquid is going to stop anything sticking to the bottom of the pan. So you're keeping your mum's pans in good condition. You're keeping your own pans in good condition. You're winning. Do a thumbs up. So for me, guys, it's browned very nicely. I'm actually ready to add the tomatoes. We should hear a lovely sizzle. I'm all about ASMR, so let's see. Turn up the heat just a little bit. Whoa, we love that. Low heat, good stir. And this is the foundations to this sauce, people. Do you know what? Anything that was stuck to the bottom of the pan is now not. You can scrape up any of that goodness and mix it all in. And I'm just going to turn that up now. So as soon as you've added your tomatoes, is now, only now, when you add your 3 red chillies. So try avoid touching them. I mean, I'm still going to wash my hands for the sake of you guys not hearing me scream later. So by adding your chilies now, you avoid any painful screams or coughs when that chili gets in your throat. But again, by adding it after the tomato, nothing's burned, everything's absorbing well. So once you've given your foundation of your sauce a good old mix, you can actually give it a taste. I know it's got all of those ingredients of the onion, but that's got a real kick. Yeah, that's good. The depth of the flavour will be quite intense because you've got all of those ingredients. We will be blitzing it, we will be adding the chicken. Later down the food process, the flavours will be mellowed out, but still strong. So you shouldn't need to add any more at this stage in terms of spices or salt, but if you did feel that it needed a bit more spice, add a bit more cayenne pepper. If you felt like it needed a bit more salt, add that.
Oh, it's lovely, perfect. Perfect colour.
That's what I do.
Blitz it.
So this is actually my favourite part of making the curry, guys. So we've got all of our sauce. We're now going to be blitzing it to create that smooth consistency without getting anything spilt on the island. So spread that out. And this is what's going to be the sauce to our curry, guys. All of those flavours in here, spread it out. Put your bowl back on the hob, turn the heat off. And for my favourite part, lid on. Make sure everything's on securely. And watch this turn into a beautiful golden curry sauce. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Oh, look at that steam. Oh, wow, yeah. So now our sauce is ready. We're just going to be transferring that. And we actually don't have the hob on right now. We're just going to get all of the contents back into the pan, like so. And you need to get all of those flavours. I don't want to be seeing anything left in this, guys. No waste. And what I like to do, I don't like to add a lot of water in this recipe because you really want just the sauce to be the main component that cooks the chicken, but we want to use everything. So we can add a neat little trick to get all of our sauce out is just get a little bit of hot water. Give that a mix and be careful because it is hot water. Don't get anything splashing, just no waste, and just pour that all into the pan. So guys, once you've got your sauce back in the pan, turn your hob back onto a low heat. You don't want this bubbling over and coming over. Keeping it on a low heat, let it gradually get hotter while stirring it in. And you can see I've added water, but it's still got such a nice thick consistency. And when we add our chicken, it will all come together. It won't be so thick. I'm actually just gonna give it one more taste because before we add our chicken, it's important that we're happy with the sauce and the flavour. Lovely, lovely kick. Spicy. Gonna add just a pinch of salt. As such. So as soon as it starts to bubble on a low heat, we're actually gonna add our 1 kg of boneless chicken thighs. And you don't need to brown any of it. You can add it straight in. And I think an important point to mention, guys, is this sauce, you can add whatever protein you want. If you want to do lamb, if you want to do fish curry, you can do it. The sauce is just the foundation, but the protein, that's up to you. So mix in that chicken with your sauce, keeping it at a low to medium heat. We're actually going to turn the heat up in just a second, but if you tried the sauce and you did feel, oh, this is a bit hot for me, what you can do is just add a couple tablespoons of Greek or natural yogurt. And what that do, it just mellows down the spice a little bit. It actually gives it a really golden flavour as well. I'm happy with the spice, and it still needs to cook, so I'm going to avoid doing that today, but just a neat little trick for you guys. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to turn the heat up because we want the juices to come out of that chicken. We want it to be bubbling. To avoid any mess, we're going to be putting a lid straight over that. Straight away. So we want that heat to be high. We want those chicken juices to come out for about 10 minutes, but watch it. Keep watching it, guys. You don't want anything to stick to the bottom. Every few minutes, every 5 minutes, open it, give it a stir, have a look. You do need to watch it. It's about love, cooking with love. Enjoy it, guys. I'm pretty proud of myself. It's my first time. Let's see if the flavours are as good as it looks at the end. So you can see it bubbling away, guys. As I said, it is on a high heat, so I'm just gonna take the lid off and give that, and you can already see the juices from the chicken that are releasing. So the consistency is coming together nicely now. We're making sure nothing's sticking at the bottom, so just go to the underside of the chicken and give it a little stir. Scrape the edges as well. Make sure that sauce is there. So yeah, and then we're just going to pop the lid back on. Right, so the sauce is coming together beautifully. For me, I want the sauce to thicken, which it already is, but I'm just going to now take the lid off and keep it on a low heat and just let that sauce really thicken and come together. I do like my coriander cut quite finely, so there's no right way of doing this, just get them in a bunch. And we're not going to be adding the stalk, this is just the coriander leaves. So with your coriander you've chopped up earlier, just grab a handful of it and just sprinkle, oh, it looks so good. Sprinkle that in to your curry. Be generous, I like coriander. If you don't have to do this stage. And then just mix that in. And look at the consistency of this sauce, guys. It is so thick. It is combined beautifully. I'm pretty proud of this one, I'll have to say. Hope my mum is too. So now curry's finished, we're just gonna transfer all of that goodness into a bowl. Voila. And be sure to not make a mess and scrape all of that juice from the edges, from the sides, get all of that on top of your curry. Right, guys, it is my favorite part, the taste test. But I thought, you know what, this time, seeing it was my mum who inspired me with this dish, I'm gonna call her on. Mum, come on in, come and try this sauce, come and try this curry. So, Mum.
It better be good.
She's not having any of the chicken, she's just trying the sauce.
Yeah.
She's getting a bit of the rice.
I know. Okay.
Need more sauce.
My mouth's watering. It's actually really good.
Do you know what? Because I know my mum's, if I was to hear a high pitch, I know that she's lying.
It's actually really good. It's as good as mine, but it's not quite as good as my mum's.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
That's good.
All right, let's hope you get that. Now it's my time for the taste test. Get a nice bit of rice, bit of sauce.
Just don't get it on my counter.
Cheers. Incredible. I can't lie, for my first curry, that is so, so good. Guys, chicken curry, episode 6. We've got the garlic naan, we've got the rice. If this is something you want to see, let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to provide. Until next time, Flavours locked in. Thanks for watching. I can say that, yeah. So the